It is 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You just ate, and you are exhausted. Not tired from a long day, exhausted. The kind where your eyelids are heavy, your thoughts are slow, and your body feels like wet concrete. You reach for something sweet, not because you are hungry, because your body is screaming for energy it cannot access. You ate a full meal. So why does it feel like you are running on empty? If that afternoon crash feels like just a normal part of your day, I need you to stop right now and pay close attention. Because that crash is not normal. And your body has been trying to tell you something for a very long time. You are not lazy. You are not weak. And this is not just aging. The fatigue, the cravings, the weight that will not move no matter what you do. Stop blaming yourself for those. Because what you have been experiencing is not a failure of willpower. It is a biological signal. And millions of people are experiencing the exact same thing right now, without ever knowing why. Here is the myth most people have accepted. That low energy and sugar cravings are just a natural consequence of getting older. Eat less. Move more. Try harder. Most doctors repeat it. Most patients believe it. But for millions of people, that explanation is dangerously incomplete. Here is what is actually happening. Every time you eat, your pancreas releases insulin. Think of insulin as a key. Your cells are the doors. When the system works properly, insulin unlocks those doors, glucose floods in, and you feel energized and steady. But when your cells have been overexposed to insulin for too long, from processed foods, chronic stress, poor sleep, or genetics, those doors start to jam. The key is still there. Your pancreas is still producing it. In fact, it is producing even more, working overtime, forcing those doors open. But the cells are no longer responding. That is insulin resistance. And here is what makes it so dangerous. Your blood sugar can look completely normal on a standard test for years, even decades, while this is happening underneath the surface. Researchers at Meridian Valley Lab have documented this for years. They call it a Kraft prediabetes profile, metabolic dysfunction that standard fasting tests completely miss. If your blood work came back normal and you still felt like something was deeply wrong, you were right. Your body was already speaking. You just did not yet have the language to understand it. That is exactly what this video gives you. But here is the good news. Insulin resistance is not a life sentence. It is one of the most reversible metabolic conditions your body can develop. That is not motivation. That is biology. You do not need medication. You do not need to overhaul your entire life overnight. You do not need expensive specialists or complicated supplement stacks. What you need is to recognize the 5 warning signs your body is already sending you. Right now, today, while your cells still have the ability to respond. Because insulin resistance does not appear overnight. It builds quietly over months and years. And at every stage, your body is waving a flag. Most people just do not know what flags to look for. Think of it this way. Your body is not your enemy. It is the most sophisticated warning system ever built. Every symptom you have been dismissing, every signal you have been pushing through, every craving you have been blaming yourself for, that was not your body failing you. That was your body communicating with you. Today, you learn how to listen. It is exactly what this video gives you. Today, I am walking you through 5 specific, science-backed warning signs that your body is becoming insulin resistant. And I need to be clear. These are not vague symptoms. These are precise, physical, trackable signals, documented by researchers, validated by endocrinologists, and ignored by millions of people every single day. Here is what we are covering, and why you need to stay until the end. Sign number 1 shows up on your skin. Most people notice it, ask their doctor about it, and get told not to worry. Emerging research tells a completely different story. Sign number 3 is the one that shocks people most. It has nothing to do with food, nothing to do with your weight. It lives in your mind, and most people have been blaming it on stress or aging for years. And sign number 5. This is the one your annual blood test is almost certainly missing. It cannot be caught by standard fasting glucose. When people finally discover this sign, it reframes years of confusion about their health in a single moment. Do not skip ahead. Every sign on this list is targeting a different person in this audience. One of them is targeting you specifically. Let us start with sign number 1. Warning sign number 1. And this one is for anyone who has ever been told their skin tags are harmless. Harmless in the sense that they will not kill you directly? Maybe. Harmless as a signal? Absolutely not. Skin tags are soft, small growths that appear around your neck, armpits, eyelids, or under your breasts. Most doctors dismiss them. But a published study in Yellow found a statistically significant association between skin tags and insulin resistance. The more you have, and the larger they are, the stronger that association becomes. Here is why. Chronically elevated insulin stimulates insulin-like growth factor, a compound that triggers abnormal cell growth in the skin. Too much insulin for too long, and your skin starts growing tissue it was never supposed to grow. But skin tags are only half of this sign. The other half is called acanthosis nigricans, a darkening and thickening of the skin in the folds of your body, the back of your neck, your armpits, your groin. It looks like a shadow that will not wash off. Many people spend years scrubbing at it, assuming it is a hygiene issue. It is not. Research from the University of Sao Paulo confirmed it as one of the most reliable external markers of insulin resistance currently known to dermatologists. Here is what I want you to do right now. Not tomorrow. Right now. Check the back of your neck in a mirror. Check your armpits. Dark, velvety, thickened skin or multiple skin tags that have appeared over the last few years is not a cosmetic issue. It is a report. Your skin has been filing it for longer than you realize. Warning sign number 2. The after-meal crash. You finish eating, and instead of feeling satisfied and energized, you feel like someone pulled a plug. Eyes heavy, brain slow. All you want is a nap or something sweet. And you have not even left the table. Most people call this a food coma and laugh it off. It is not a food coma. It is one of the most consistent early signals of insulin resistance that metabolic researchers document. Here is what is actually happening. When you eat, your blood glucose rises. Your pancreas releases insulin to move that glucose into your cells. In a healthy system, this is smooth and proportional. Glucose goes up. Insulin brings it down. You feel steady. But in an insulin-resistant body, the pancreas has to release a massive surge of insulin to do that same job. It overcompensates, floods your bloodstream, and drives your blood sugar down too fast, too far. Your brain, which runs almost entirely on glucose, suddenly finds itself starved. This is called reactive hypoglycemia, and research from metabolic health specialists documents it as one of the earliest detectable patterns of insulin dysfunction, appearing years before a diabetes diagnosis. Then comes the craving. Your brain, running low on fuel, sends out an emergency signal. Sugar, starch, anything fast. You eat it. Blood sugar spikes. Insulin surges. You crash again. Every single day. Multiple times. This is not a willpower problem. This is a hormonal loop. So be honest with yourself. After lunch, after dinner, do you feel energized or do you feel like you need something sweet just to keep going? If the answer is consistently the latter, your body is not digesting a meal. It is struggling with one. That is warning sign number 2. Warning sign number 3. And this one has nothing to do with your waistline. Nothing to do with your appetite. This warning sign lives entirely in your mind. Or more accurately, it steals your mind from you. Brain fog. You walk into a room and forget why you went there. You read the same paragraph 3 times and retain nothing. You're mid-conversation and the word you need just disappears. Slow. Distant. Like you're thinking through wet cement. You've been blaming stress. Poor sleep. Getting older. Emerging research points somewhere else entirely. Your brain is the most glucose-dependent organ in your body. It consumes roughly 20% of your total energy supply, despite being only 2% of your body weight. It runs almost exclusively on glucose, and it is exquisitely sensitive to how that glucose arrives. When insulin resistance develops, the brain doesn't escape. Some scientists now call it type 3 diabetes, insulin resistance inside the brain itself. When neurons stop responding to insulin, they can't absorb glucose efficiently. The brain hits its own energy crisis. Neurons fire slower. Memory consolidation weakens. Attention collapses. Here's what makes this so easy to dismiss. It doesn't arrive suddenly. It creeps in over months, over years, so slowly that most people adjust without realizing they're adjusting. They stop reaching for words they can't find. They start writing more things down. They accept the fog as their new normal. That baseline is not inevitable aging. In many cases, it's metabolic. So here's the question I want you to sit with honestly. When did you last feel genuinely mentally sharp? Not caffeinated. Not temporarily alert. Truly clear. Able to hold complex thoughts without effort? If that feeling has become a distant memory, your metabolism may be asking for your attention far more urgently than you realized. Warning sign number 4. The stubborn belly. This one is for anyone who has done everything right. Watched what they ate, walked regularly, cut back on portions, and still watched the fat around their midsection refuse to move. Not shrink slowly. Not budge at all. Just sit there fixed and immovable, like it belongs to a completely different body. That fat is not there because you're not trying hard enough. It's there because of where insulin resistance hits hardest. And the abdomen is ground zero. Here's why. When your cells become resistant to insulin, glucose is circulating in your blood but can't get into your cells efficiently. So your body makes a decision. It converts that excess glucose into fat and stores it deep in your abdominal cavity. Not the fat you can pinch. The fat packed around your liver, your pancreas, your intestines. This is called visceral fat. And it is not a cosmetic problem. Visceral fat releases inflammatory compounds directly into your liver's blood supply. That inflammation makes your liver more insulin resistant, which forces your pancreas to produce even more insulin, which drives even more fat into your abdomen. A self-reinforcing cycle. And conventional calorie restriction alone cannot easily break it. This is why so many people with growing waistlines are genuinely confused. They're not dramatically overeating. They're not sedentary. But their hormonal environment, specifically their chronically elevated insulin, is overriding the basic math of calories in and calories out. Insulin is the body's master fat storage hormone. As long as it stays elevated, your body stays in storage mode. Full stop. Here's a number worth knowing. A waist measurement above 35 inches in women, above 40 inches in men. That's a clinically significant marker of visceral fat and insulin resistance risk. Not your weight on the scale, your waist. So if your clothes have been fitting differently around the middle, if your waist has been creeping up even when the scale hasn't moved, if the belly feels harder, deeper, more fixed than ordinary weight gain, your body is not simply storing excess calories. It's responding to a hormonal signal that has been running unchecked for far too long. Warning sign number 5. And this one reframes everything. This is the sign that explains why millions of people sit across from their doctor, hear the words, "Your blood work looks fine," walk out with a clean bill of health, and still feel absolutely terrible. Fatigued, foggy, gaining weight, craving sugar, struggling, and quietly wondering if they're imagining it. They're not imagining it. Here's what most routine blood panels actually check. Fasting glucose. The level of sugar in your blood after 8 to 12 hours without eating. If that number falls below a certain threshold, you're told your blood sugar is normal. And technically, in that moment, it is. But here's what that test does not tell you. It does not tell you how much insulin your pancreas had to produce to keep that number normal. And that distinction is everything. 2 people. Both have a fasting glucose of 90. Person A gets there with a modest, healthy insulin response. Person B gets there with their pancreas working 5 times as hard, flooding the body with insulin just to hold that number in place. On a standard test, they look identical, but metabolically, they are worlds apart. Person B is already deep into insulin resistance. The system is heading toward breakdown, and the standard test never shows it. Researcher Joseph Kraft spent decades studying exactly this. He measured insulin levels not just after fasting, but across several hours following a meal. Analyzing thousands of patients, he found that the majority of people who went on to develop type 2 diabetes had completely normal fasting glucose for years beforehand. The dysfunction was only visible when you looked at how aggressively the pancreas was responding after eating. Standard testing missed it entirely. The measurement that comes closest to catching this is called HOMA-IR. It combines fasting glucose and fasting insulin together to calculate how resistant your cells currently are. A score above 1.9 indicates early insulin resistance. Above 2.9, significant resistance. But here's the problem. Fasting insulin, the second number required, is not included in most routine blood panels. Most people have never had it measured in their lives. So if you've been experiencing the crashes, the fog, the stubborn belly, the cravings, and your doctor found nothing concerning, this is why. You haven't been getting the full picture. Here's what to do. Ask specifically for a fasting insulin level alongside your fasting glucose. Ask your doctor to calculate your HOMO-IR score. If your symptoms are strong, ask about a postprandial insulin assessment. You now know what to ask for. That changes everything. We just covered 5 warning signs that your body may be becoming insulin resistant. And if even one of those felt uncomfortably familiar, that recognition matters. That's your body finally being heard. But we're not done, because knowing the warning signs is only half the picture. The half that actually changes your health trajectory is knowing what to do about them. That's exactly where we're going next. We're going to talk about what the research actually says about reversing insulin resistance. Not managing it, not slowing it down, reversing it, including one intervention that works at the cellular level, allowing your muscle cells to absorb glucose without insulin even being involved. That one surprises almost everyone. But before we get there, one quick request. If this video is giving you information your doctor has never sat down and explained, please hit subscribe right now. This is exactly what I make every single week. And by subscribing, you're joining a community of people who've decided to stop guessing about their health and start understanding it. We're just getting to the most important part. Stay with me. Now we get to the part that actually matters. Everything we've covered, the skin signals, the energy crashes, the brain fog, the stubborn belly, the misleading blood tests, that was the diagnosis. This is the prescription. And I want to start with the single most powerful, most research-validated, most underutilized intervention for insulin resistance that exists. It doesn't come in a bottle. It doesn't require a prescription. It's available to you completely free starting today. It's muscle contraction, specifically resistance exercise. Here's why this is extraordinary. Every other method of improving insulin sensitivity tries to fix the insulin signaling pathway, tries to make the key turn the lock more efficiently. Exercise does something entirely different. It bypasses the lock altogether. When your muscles contract, during resistance training, bodyweight movement, even resistance bands, they activate a protein inside your muscle cells called GLUT4. Normally, GLUT4 sits dormant, waiting for insulin to arrive before moving to the cell surface. But during muscle contraction, GLUT4 moves on its own. No insulin required. Your muscle cells open their doors and pull glucose directly from your bloodstream. Research confirms that exercise activates AMPK, a cellular energy sensor that triggers this insulin-independent glucose uptake. And a landmark study found that strength training increases both GLUT4 content and insulin-mediated glucose uptake in people who already have type 2 diabetes. Not just people at risk. People who already have the condition. The reversal potential is that significant. So, what does this look like practically? Not marathons. Not 2 hours in a gym. Research shows that even 2 to 3 sessions per week of moderate resistance exercise produces measurable improvements in insulin sensitivity within weeks. Not months. Weeks. Here's the protocol the research supports most consistently. 1. Move within 30 minutes after eating. This is when blood glucose is naturally rising and your muscles can absorb it most effectively. A 10-minute walk after a meal isn't just good general advice. It's a targeted metabolic intervention. 2. Resistance train at least twice a week. Your legs, your back, your glutes are your biggest glucose sponges. Training them creates the greatest metabolic impact. 3. Be consistent over intense. A moderate workout done regularly outperforms an intense workout done occasionally. Every single time. And if you're thinking, I have joint pain, limited mobility, I don't know where to start. Here's your answer. Sit down in a chair. Stand back up. 10 times. That's a squat. That's GLUT4 activation. That's insulin resistance being pushed back. Start there. Before we close, one bonus insight that multiplies everything we just covered. Not a sixth warning sign. Not another protocol. Something far simpler. And something most people are getting completely wrong without realizing it. Sleep. Most people understand that poor sleep makes them tired. What most people don't know is that even a single night of inadequate sleep, 5 to 6 hours instead of 7 to 8, measurably increases insulin resistance the very next day. Not gradually, not over weeks. The following morning. Here's why. During deep sleep, your body regulates cortisol, your primary stress hormone. Cut sleep short and cortisol stays elevated into the next day. And elevated cortisol directly fights insulin. It signals your liver to dump more glucose into your bloodstream, while simultaneously making your cells more resistant to insulin signal. This isn't subtle. It's a direct, measurable, biological relationship. So here's the rule. You can eat well. You can exercise consistently. But if you're regularly sleeping less than 7 hours, you are fighting your own recovery every single night. Sleep is not the reward for managing insulin resistance well. Sleep is part of the treatment. Protect it like the metabolic medicine it actually is. We covered a lot today, and every piece of it matters. 5 warning signs. The science behind what's actually happening inside your cells. The most powerful research-backed intervention available to you. And a bonus insight that ties all of it together. So before you go, 2 requests. And I mean these genuinely. First, if this video gave you clarity that years of routine doctor visits haven't, hit subscribe right now. Every single week I go this deep into the metabolic and health topics most people are navigating completely alone. Subscribe and you won't miss any of it. Second, find the save button underneath this video and press it. Here's why. You won't remember every detail of what we covered today. But at some point, tomorrow, next week, 3 months from now, you're going to notice one of these 5 signs in yourself or someone you love. When that moment comes, you'll want this video waiting for you. Save it now so it is. Before you go, I need you to carry something with you. Your body has not been failing you. It has been fighting for you. Every symptom we covered today, the fatigue, the fog, the cravings, the stubborn weight, the skin changes, none of that was your body giving up. That was your body refusing to give up, sending signal after signal, louder and louder, until you finally had the language to understand what it was saying. And now you do. Insulin resistance is not a verdict. It's not a destination. It's a direction. And directions can be changed. The research is unambiguous. With the right movement, the right sleep, and the right awareness of what your body is actually communicating, this process is reversible. Not manageable. Reversible. Your cells retain the ability to respond. Your pancreas retains the ability to recover. Your body genuinely wants to find its way back to balance. So don't walk away from this video feeling overwhelmed. Walk away feeling equipped. You now know the 5 warning signs. You know what your standard blood test is missing and exactly what to ask for instead. And you know that something as simple and as free as moving your muscles after a meal is one of the most powerful metabolic interventions science has ever documented. Thank you for trusting me with your time today. I don't take that lightly. Stay curious. Stay consistent. And I'll see you in the next one.